right, hello everyone. My name is Kieran. Welcome back to the Newport County pre-match podcast. I still need to find a new name for it because it's more of a video cast than a podcast. But either way, we're going to a home game against Mansfield, top of the league, and I'm sure Russell here will be more than delighted to, mention that. So first of all, mate, thank you for taking the time out of your day to have a chat with me ahead of the game.
Cheers, mate. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, mate, we did one of these back in, I don't remember when we played, October, November time or so.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I was talking to you off of record about how I wasn't as positive, talking during that time due to injuries and ownership worries and all this other stuff. But there's definitely a lot more of a reason to think this one will be I'd hope at least a more competitive game. So we'll go into form, first of all. Last five, the hosts, Newport, kind of inconsistent, but consistently inconsistent, I think is the way I'm going to put it. It is win-loss, win-loss, win. So 3 wins, 2 losses in the last 5. Meanwhile, Mansfield, 4 wins, 1 loss. Can you imagine it was the other way around? But yeah, so the first thing I'm going to ask you is, of course, you're currently top of the table. You're looking like, do I want to say League One bound yet? Is that too soon for me to say?
I think it's too soon, yeah. We've got 13 cup finals left, and it's an enjoyable time, but it's also nervous. We've come really close from being top a couple of times this season, and then we've results haven't gone the way and it hasn't happened. So Saturday to go top was nice, but the hard work starts now to stay there. And yeah, it's been a phenomenal season for us. If you look at the unbeaten run, the amount of injuries that we had at the start of the season, I'd have bit your hand off for the playoffs with all them injuries, but to be top here, talking to you today, 9 past Harrogate, a loss against Walsall, which we played well. It just sometimes doesn't happen. You have all the shots and you don't convert. Walsall did play well, to be fair. And then a 5-2 win against Salford, who 5-1. I don't think Salford are that bad of a team. I was quite impressed with the fact they want to play football, and I think Newport would be the same. I can't see Saturday's game being 2 teams that just want to hoof it in the air. I think both teams will try and attack each other and play good football, and I think that kind of makes for a good game of football, especially at League 2. So quite excited for this game, quite looking forward to it.
Oh, it's a game that I've been kind of eyeing up for the past month or so, just because it looks like it will be an entertaining type of football. And I remember titling it in terms of when we did the first one, I said 2 very different types of football. And I think that still stands for the most part, despite the fact that I can't really say to you how Newport play in terms of they have one system and that's about it. We play about 4 different ways during a game. It all depends how it's going. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic in terms of watching Newport. And yeah, we're 10th in the league, 49 points. And would you believe that 49 points is 2 points off of playoffs when we're this far into the season? Very interesting. You talk Mansfield, 63 points after 33 games. And yeah, I'd imagine potentially the right term is to say that you're not quite League One ready or able to say that and start the promotion party, because you've got Stockport. 1 game played more than you, of course, but you're ahead of them on goal difference. Crew, you played 1 less game than them. They've got 61 points. And then Wrexham, I mean, we all know kind of the situation there, but 60 points, 3 points behind you in 4th, which, of course, is the top playoff spot. But yeah, that Walsall game, when you mentioned it, of course, you lost 2-1 there, and that's your only loss in the last 5. Really, really weird to kind of read that result, because we played them a couple of weeks prior and beat them 3-0, and it never looked like a contest. So It does show how exciting this league is at the end of the day, doesn't it? But when we were talking on your Twitter space of course, yesterday, one of the things you mentioned, or one of the things that was brought up, was that you have a really good squad in terms of depth, in terms of options. I remember somebody saying that Aaron Lewis, who Newport fans will know all too well, is more of a bench option in terms of his immediate role. But yeah, do you think the squad, of course, Mansfield have been known to have poor injuries and a poor track record in that regard? Do you think you finally got over that hurdle and you have the depth required to get through these next 13 games in the next two months or so?
I think to be honest, it's a strange one really, because I'm not used to it. We've always struggled bench wise with injuries. This year, it kind of looks like any of that bench. You know, if you look at the bench from Saturday, you got Boateng on there, who came off the bench to score. He now stands at 4 goals in 3 games, and yeah, he's on the bench. So you've got Tom Nichols, who scored 2 goals for us already. He's on the bench. We know what Tom Nichols can do. Yeah, it finally feels like we've got that squad balance to just sustain this push. And it's a nice feeling, but it's one of them. When you're at the top, you're there to be shot at, and like, people will up the game for you. I have no doubt that on Saturday Newport will be rocking. We went last season, and for me, Newport had the best, and I'm not saying that because it's a Newport podcast, but Newport had the best home fans. That little section just behind the dugout where they're all standing, I think it's where you drum, was absolutely bouncing all game. And they were cheering, singing, and I just thought, what a fantastic atmosphere that is there. So yeah, I think we'll be up for it. We've sold quite a few tickets. So I think we'll be bouncing, your lot will be bouncing. I just think it makes the occasion that little bit more better.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. And I remember that Mansfield game. It was kind of one of, off the end of the season, really towards the end of it. And
yeah,
it was still one of the ones where we knew we were safe at that point. I believe the week before we had beaten Hartlepool to make sure that was the case. And yeah, we ended up just enjoying the occasion, but I'm sure that there's more of a reason to enjoy the occasion given, again, I don't want to kind of, knock on wood here, but as of right now, we are in the contention for playoffs. I think that doesn't give me too much confidence, because I never have confidence against the teams top of the table. But at the end of the day, it does bring more of a reason to have the atmosphere. And yeah, that bit behind the dugout is always one that we mention as the ones that make the atmosphere and make the entire ground kind of go into it. It's very nice that you've actually mentioned that, because I'm sure a lot of the people that are in the terrace behind the dugout will have noticed that. So hopefully we can get that atmosphere going. It's something that Graham Coughlan has mentioned in terms of what he's wanted, and the reason that we've got over the line so many a times is because we're there making it uncomfortable for the oppositions. It's definitely something that we can go into and potentially, have as a benefiting factor. But yeah, we'll talk about Mansfield squad a little bit more in terms of the dangerous players you've mentioned, or the dangerous players you've got. I remember talking with you a few months ago, and I remember saying about Will Swan being a really I don't think I said prolific, but I think the word I used was pacey, which is one thing that I'm sure scares a lot of Newport fans, given we haven't dealt with an abundance of pace so much this season. But in terms of the players you think can cause Newport problems on a Saturday, who do you think they are?
So the thing is, at the minute with Mansfield, you just never know what the starting 11 is going to be. Everyone's got a quality shout. I think for me, Will Swan struggled this season, but has really kicked into form last month. He's got his confidence back. He looks sharp. He looks hungry. So I think Will Swan. I think if I pick 3 for you, the other one is probably Hiram Boateng if he starts. Obviously, 4 goals, 3 games, looking confident. Wants to drive forward, some good passing. And then my last one is Lewis Brunt, who's a young lad. He cost us a goal against Crewe. He cost us a goal in the following game. Nigel Clough called him out on it, rightly or wrongly, whatever people think about that. some players would go into the shell and not want to play, and especially him being a young lad on loan from Leicester. He's raised his game. He's been absolutely fantastic. And I think, for me personally, the battle between Brunt and Evans Saturday is going to be an absolute key to this game. I know people will come on and talk about Aidan Flynn and all the rest of it, but I think Brunt and Evans will probably match up Saturday, and it'd be really good to see how those two go against each other.
It's always interesting. That's one of the main talking points, as you'd imagine, being a Newport fan, is how will Evans be able to cope with facing, at the end of the day, when we come to League Two, top-tier opposition for this division. He's done really well, and I think the goal he got against United kind of just has sparked that. But you mentioned the kind of dangerous passes you make and all this other stuff. In terms of tactically, then, how do you tend to get the ball from A to B, so to speak?
So we tend to vary it up. We like possession. We do like it. We do like a bit of a high press. We've got Louis Reed that just sits in front of the back four, who likes to ping balls off to the side. Obviously, we've got Lewis on the wing that likes to put the cross in or a cut in the inside. It's really hard to pin down how we actually play, because we've got such a good squad. We can just change it at any moment. But we do tend to like the ball on the floor. We like to play attractive football for League Two. It's not all about oof ball or just launching balls forward. You'll have Akins up front that will bring it down and do your little layoffs and stuff like that. So it's hard to say, but I think possession-based football with a high press is probably where we're at Mansfield right now.
Possession-based football. I'm sure that's something that we don't like to hear. The teams that we have recently lost to, MK Dons and Notts County respectively, are possession-based teams, and they're quite quick with the possession. Or, I mean, apparently Notts don't do anything with the ball unless they're playing Newport. So it's really interesting to kind of mention that. But in terms of a Newport tactic, I'm kind of in a similar boat. I don't really know how we play. Every now and again, it does become quite ugly and it does become hoofball, but more occasionally it's on the ground. It's, quick passing football, the creations of triangles, all of that lovely tactical mumbo jumbo. And yeah, like you said, it looks to be a very enticing game against, one team that is looking to retain their position at the top of the league, and the other one where, silently speaking, I'm sure that our manager, Graham Coughlan, will mention it, but he'll definitely be eyeing up those playoffs, whether he wants to admit it or not. So, yeah, there's not too much that I kind of wanted to delve into, because I think the kind of table position you've got kind of speaks for itself in terms of the consistency you've built, in terms of the squad you've built. And I think when we had the chat in the space kind of yesterday, that did give me most of the idea of how it goes. And I believe I've retweeted that, but if I haven't, have you recorded that so I can chuck it in the description?
So it's available. The space is still up there anyway, or the which I'll tag you in, but we're available on like Spotify and Google and all the rest of them. So it's all out there. But yeah, so for the Newport fans listening to this, the last time Mansfield Town were champions were 2013, non-league. Newport beat Wrexham in the playoff final and came up with us. So if you want an omen about Mansfield becoming champions, there's your omen, Newport fans, and hopefully you do it.
You know what? I think that the mouth-watering idea of Wrexham Newport at Wembley once again, just to get another one over them, would be something we'd be very open to. But in terms of a last question, it's one that, every single podcast will do. It's one of the ones that is a controversial question for a reason or another. Score predictions. How do you think this game goes in terms of a scoreline?
I think 2-1 Mansfield. I think Evans to get one, Swan to get one, and then probably a late goal, like 70 plus minutes. I think somebody comes off the bench. I think you get a little bit tired of the high press and the mistakes made, but I think it'd be close. I don't think we're looking at like a Salford blow-away or anything like that. I think it'd be a closer game than what some fans will expect.
Oh, I really hope it is because, I'd been speaking to you about how I'm not overly confident. And I also said, I believe the first line I said when I spoke to you was that I'd snap your hand off for a point. So I'm still going to say that I will take a point. I will say I'll be on the fence and say 1-1, but if it's 2-1 either way, I wouldn't be surprised. And I could see potentially a home atmosphere being an advantage. But at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, if my research isn't wrong, you have the best away form in the league. And given you've only lost 4 games all season in the league, it all matches up, doesn't it? So either way, it looks to be a really good game. So unless you have anything else you kind of want to mention from a Mansfield point or from a Newport point, I think we're ready to wrap it up. It's quite a short one compared to expected.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me again. And, to all the Newport fans, genuinely, apart from this Saturday side, I think you've got a really positive future. You've got a really good striker that you can build a team around. You've got an owner now that we've seen what he's done at Swansea. He's invested in Newport. He's clearly invested in Wales as well. So I think it's looking really positive for you guys. And you know what? Hopefully you do get into playoffs and you win it. If we go up as champions, then yeah, come up and join us at a League One party. Why not? But yeah, all of you enjoy the game tomorrow. Let's create a good atmosphere and yeah, let's just enjoy it.
Oh, let's hopefully enjoy it. And hopefully at the end of the season, we can all be invited around for a promotion party. So I'll chuck the links to, your Twitter and your Spotify and everything in the description. And yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk about the game. It's been great fun again.
Yeah, it's been good, mate. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, mate. No worries at all. So yeah, that is about all we've got in terms of Newport Mansfield coverage on the Newport County Pre-Match Podcast. I need to think of a new name. We'll probably think of a new one for next season, hopefully in League One. But regardless, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Of course, check out Amber and Blue, Russell. It's all in the description. Support the channel in whatever way you see fit using the links in the description. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. And hopefully, whenever I come back onto you again, we're talking about a massive 3 points against top of the league. But I would more than happily settle with a draw. Take care.